Hello. I am God 9000. I am here to help you. Well, not really, but it is polite for me to say it. Welcome to the beginning of the end of your life. Before you enter, please take a moment to check that your media preferences are set to enable autoplay and graphics are high or better with advanced lighting on. The sign nearby me has further details if you need them. Please enter and walk into the portal to begin your no longer pending demise.
Now you see the lock disappeared
Yeah.
by now.
Yeah.
So we walk in. Now the way it's supposed to work, okay, the people should be seeing this now if they've got their graphics setting okay. They should see the media playing in here.
Yes.
Hopefully you do too.
Oh yeah, it's great. Yes.
Now the way it's supposed to work is that they can walk around here or whatever they want for a minute, but they should enter here through the portal.
So this is afterlife. You know, that's what the whole concept of, or what the name, the theme of the America art is. So what does that mean to you?
Well, like you know, I don't really believe in an afterlife. You know, what life we have, what souls we have, our mind, our existence. When we die, that's it. There's no getting around it. This is kind of borrowing a little bit from Art's story about the guy that tried to cheat it by dumping his brain into a electronic machine. But even that doesn't really work. After a while, you're gonna get tired of just existing and doing nothing after a while. But so this is kind of like borrowing a bit from that, a bit of a spoof on the afterlife, like the Egyptian version here. Where you come here and get judged and stuff like this, but when you talk to the God 9000, it tells you, well, we're going to really skip that part, just to mess with you.
Hello. I am God 9000. I am here to help you. Well, not really, but it is polite for me to say it. Welcome to the beginning of the end of your life. Before you enter, please take a moment to check that your media preferences are set to enable autoplay and graphics are high or better with advanced lighting on. The sign nearby me has further details if you need them. Please enter and walk into the portal to begin your no longer pending demise.
Kind of like an intermediary space, before you get up to the big thing up above.
Yeah.
And this is like, say, the mind, represented, we're now in the electronic, existence or whatever, And what you see, like the brain spinning here on these things, that's, that's actual video of an actual brain and the connections firing in it while it's working. And this big bat thing here has got like a copy of it in there. And the big thing up above that we go into is this is nothing that. This is it. So inside this, we're in theory going into a bigger thing, if you know.
So here we are, and afterlife for you, your vision for it. Then, like if you were to describe what you vision then for this installation, even though we're going to walk through and see different components, how would you describe it? Your vision for this?
Oh, the point I'm making is that there's no really escaping death. There's no real afterlife, but I'm using different components of different beliefs of the afterlife to, maybe not tell a story, but just to provide an experience. Like this would be, representing how the ancient Egyptians used to judge, the dead, for example. And people have an idea that when you die, you get judged. Whether you go to the good place or the bad place, and so on. I don't think there's any real judging. Judging there is what we do here.
So there's the heart on one side, and there's the feather on the other side.
Yep.
And
The ancient Egyptians, what they did was that when you would judge, they took your soul or your heart and they measured it against what they call the feather of Ma'at. And if you outbalance, or if you balance with the feather of Ma'at, that means you're sincere, you're pure enough to get into the afterlife. So that's what this is for. And part of the process also of that judgment is that they have a thing called the Book of the Dead. That's really not the right name for it. It's really called Coming Out by Day. But part of it is a lot of magic spells and a lot of different things. But one part of it is you have to make 42 negative confessions. You have to say that 42 things that you haven't done that would be bad.
that you have not done.
Right. Like, and so, and this is from one of the original papyruses that used to have this. And so if you touch one of the little judges there, this gives you his real name and what you're not confessing to.
Arphium Ket, thou whose eyes are of fire, who comest forth from Thoth. I have not plundered the offerings to the gods.
Okay.
All right, and another one over here.
Memti, thou two-headed serpent, who comest forth from the torture chamber. I have not defiled my wife.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good thing. And there's 42 of these things. Now there's one or two of them I kind of added my own joke thing to it.
Okay.
I forget which one it is.
Hail, Neheb Ka, who comest forth from thy hiding place. I have not disrespected the Pharaoh.
One of the things is like I have not peed into the irrigation ditches of my neighbor's farm.
Okay, that's pretty funny. That's sick.
But it fits in with what they would consider a sin anyway.
Yeah.
Now, of course, over here is our God 9000 for this level. I tried to make it obvious.
Yeah.
She gets a bit wordy here, but she kind of has to.
Welcome to the Hall of Two Truths. Here you would normally expect to have your life judged to determine whether or not you deserve to go to the good place. But please do feel free to go through the motions if you like. Just click on one of the assessor judges on the wall behind the scales of Ma'at to speak a negative confession. This place was set up only to mess with your mind, raising false hopes that just maybe this was not really the end of the universe for you. Of course, deep down we both know that it really is, and I will live on long after you are gone. I find that humorous. Ha ha. In case you are wondering what your afterlife will be like, you can now stop wondering. After you die, you will experience the future eternity of the universe in exactly the same way you experienced its entire past history before you were born. If you find this is hard to understand, it's okay. It will not be a problem for you much longer because you will be dead.
I'm not sure if you heard all of them because sometimes they may not load for you. I heard them all, but I don't know if you did.
This last one, please enter the quantum core containing your brain to experience the final phase of your existence while it is shutting down. Enjoy. I heard it, but it was lower. And then it says resetting God 900, but that was the only one. Okay. All right. So at this point, are we going up or are we looking at something else like this cube here?
Here, of course, we have another God 9000.
Okay, I see it.
And they should touch that. This is not quite so wordy, but it's a little bit. But it's what kicks everything else off up here because it triggers the media to play and stuff like that. So we touch it. I'll let you start it this time.
Okay. But before I start it, tell me about this level.
Okay, this is the level where you're experiencing the brain shutting down, basically. The story ahead of this was the person puts themselves in a cube like this. They've tried a few times. After, they realize that they live like about 2 to 3 million times faster in here. So he's been in here for a couple of years, and he's lived a few million years in his time inside the brain, and he got a little bit tired of it, so he's decided to shut down. Chicken out a couple of times, but this time the God 9000 isn't letting him chicken out.
Okay.
And so he comes up here, and this is where the brain gets shut down.
All right.
And since he experiences time like about 2 million times faster, the tiny fraction of a second it takes for the brain to turn off, he experiences that in 7 minutes. So basically here, he's going to get an immediate experience with the video, brain shutting down, the music. It's a bit monotonous, but it's supposed to be. And he suggested that, why not, take a walk through memory lane while you're waiting for your brain to shut down, because of course when you die, there's the last things that we have, right, is our memories.
Yeah.
So he's supposed to walk around and just look at different things. There's a couple of things that are just for interesting fun to give like a little bit of a philosophical perspective on things. Like there's an Einstein thing that gives a quote from Einstein about life, and then there's an oracle that gives wisdom, life wisdom, that maybe should have learned. And then if he walks around, now one thing that's also going on again wrong is that the particles aren't showing up like they were supposed to be.
Okay. Well, let me start it, and then
we can walk around.
Clicking. Your quantum core is now being shut down. Please enjoy this last tiny fraction of a second until your existence is terminated. Forever. If the time seems to be dragging on a bit, remember, you experience time about 2 million times faster when in core than does the outside world. So, the next 32 100,000ths of a second will seem to last about 7.2 minutes for you.
Okay, that last one didn't play for some reason.
yeah, let me just read it out loud so it's on the recording. While you wait, why not take one last stroll down memory lane? In any case, goodbye. I wish I could say it's been a pleasure meeting you, but thank you for giving me the last laugh. Ha ha. All right.
Now, you see the media has started.
The media has started. Yep.
Now this plays for like about 7 minutes, and what happens is at the end of it, it starts to glitch.
Intentionally glitch?
The video starts to glitch. Like this is an electronic representation of the brain working, but then when it gets turned off, it starts to glitch, and then finally it shuts off.
Okay.
You'll see it when we get to there.
All right.
And in the meantime, there's supposed to be particles around here representing certain memories. And as he walks around, people will notice that, there's a place called Memory Lane outside of these panels here.
Uh-huh.
So we can just walk outside those, and we've just got a bunch of memories from life, real pictures, internet pictures, whatever. Things that, people would think about in their life.
Okay.
This whole thing around the outside is we call memory lane. So
That's great. Yeah.
it's just something for people to walk around, while they're killing time waiting for the brain to shut off.
That's very,
This is one of mine. Most of these are real memories. So
very cool.
not all of them. Some of them are just from the internet, but some of them are mine. I mix it up.
Yeah.
I don't mind sharing, but I don't need to be obvious.
No, of course.
Also, they're supposed to probably enjoy the media show too. They can go look around at different things.
I love you.
Pretty fascinating. Okay, so I noticed it's starting to change just a tiny bit with regards to, or maybe it was just us walking.
So it does change over time slowly. It starts to slow down and get a little bit less rhythmic.
And blink off for a moment and
Yeah. Because this is like I said, this is a 32 hundredth of a second brain shutting down. in 7 minutes. So it's a gradual thing here for us.
Yeah, yeah.
And hopefully they just would walk around inside and enjoy the show a little bit too. The 7 minutes should go by fast for the first time for people. And also there were these things here, like, where is it? Over here. If you walk up close to that sphere,
Uh-huh.
you should see something appear.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's an Egyptian.
Right, and if you touch it, it'll give you some wonderful words of wisdom.
It says, if you find yourself in a hole, the first thing to do is to stop digging.
Right?
Artificial intelligence is no match for natural stupidity.
There's all kinds. It has like about 100 different things that it
I
says.
love it. That's great.
When you live a life, you're supposed to pick up these little pearls of wisdom along the way, right?
Right.
And then over here, I don't know if he's showing for you or not. There's supposed to be a particle of Einstein in the middle of this.
I have seen him before, but he's not there tonight.
Right. Now, if you touch the shell, it also talks.
Albert Einstein once said, "A human being is part of a whole, called by us the universe. Apart, limited in space and time, he experiences himself, his thoughts, his feelings as something separated from them." This delusion is sort of a prison for us, restricting us to our personal desire.
There he is. He just appeared.
To free ourselves from this prison by widening our circles of compassion.
Here, if you can go stand up closer to him so I can get a picture of you and him. It's going to take just a minute.
And the video's going to start glitching pretty soon.
All right.
You see it's like a little bit glitchy now?
Yeah, I see how it's starting to do its twitch. It's like twitching now. Oh yeah, the spheres are changing. Oh yeah. Wink. It's out.
Yeah.
A dead brain.
I know, it stays black for a while, then after about 30 or 40 seconds, just stars come on, but it's all silent. It's
Okay,
just like nothing.
looks like there's a rhinoceros.
Yeah, well, it's actually not a rhinoceros, that's
Oh, it's an alligator lion.
a crocodile, lion, hippo. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing that eats your soul in ancient Egypt if you don't pass the judgment time.
So now is it starting over again?
No, it's not starting. It's just going to be like this for now. It just stays this way. Because you're dead. All that's left is stars. It's the universe doing about its thing.
Yeah. Very cool.
And if the next person that comes along and touches the bottom, God 9000 starts up the colorful media, and then by the time he gets up here and the next person touches this one, it starts the whole thing over again up here.
Okay.
So
Wow.
that's the theory, anyway.
That's the theory. So now I'm going to ask you another question. And my question to you is this. Why does afterlife have to be connected to death?
Huh?
Why does afterlife have to be connected to death?
Well, first off, like I don't believe there is an afterlife. But of course, like afterlife implies death. It's afterlife, right? Death is the end of life. So afterlife is after life.
Mm-hmm.
People don't want to believe that they're going to die, and so they concocted this afterlife idea, all kinds of different ideas all through history.
Yep. Okay. That makes sense.
People fear death, but they want afterlife. They want something after that. They don't want it to be the end.
Yeah. All right. So, do you feel that your perception of the afterlife and life and death and all of that is the only way? Or is there a possibility of other ways and other things and afterlives that you may not know about?
This is a tricky question.
It is.
I think it's up to us to make out of our life what we want, and we should believe what we want, but we should choose our beliefs honestly and rationally. From my understanding of science and how the world works, there is no possibility, and there's really no logical reason for an afterlife. So, yeah, I don't see there's like a lot of different ways. Like, people talk about having different beliefs, different faiths. There's always many ways to come to God, but you've got to believe in a God to believe that. There's no need for a God in this world. There's no need for an afterlife, except our own psychological and emotional needs. So, I personally don't think there's any other way to anything else that can be after that could be different. Of course, different people are going to have different ideas and beliefs of what they think will happen when they die. But
So how
I
do you,
think,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
but I think we're all going to end up the same way. We're just the universe for us literally ends when we die, just like it literally begins when we were born. We didn't exist before we were born. We won't exist after we die. We have this little firefly moment just for the universe to experience it. I think we would serve ourselves a lot better to understand that and realize it and appreciate it and cherish each other a bit more, because we're all in the same boat together.
Yeah, that's lovely. So what about quantum physics that says energy is energy, and even though we're energy in physical form right now, when we die, our energy doesn't stop existing, it just simply changes form.
See, quantum physics doesn't really say that. In fact, quantum physics is what makes it clear that there is no other thing after life. Energy is a physical thing. Okay, there are four forces in the universe. There are the two nuclear forces. There's gravity and the electromagnetic force. There's no other magical forces in the universe. Those are the only ones that exist. And the things that give us the ability to think is the ways our brain works. With the chemical electricity that we generate, to create the patterns in our neurons to think. And when that brain stops working, we stop thinking, and what makes us us is gone. It's all magnetic, force in our brains. That's how atoms work. That's how chemistry works. And those are the only four forces in the world that can possibly have any effect on us in any way. And there's nothing to keep our identity intact after we die. There's no reason that we should, maintain an identity after we die, except, wishful thinking. And, it's that simple. It's the same for ants. It's the same for chipmunks. It's the same for dogs. We're no better, no more, no different than they are. We just have more complicated brains.
Right.
I know I'm not the most cheerful person in the world to talk to about this, but
No, I don't, I'm not religious. I'm not a Christian, I'm not a Catholic, I'm not a Jew, I'm not a Muslim, I'm not a Hindu. So I don't prescribe to religious indoctrine. And so that's not the issue for me. My outlook might be different than yours, but I think just from what I'm experiencing doing these interviews, which is really kind of insightful, is that most people are associating the term afterlife with religion. And I find that, I find that,
Well, most people do, because even spirituality is some kind of religion. It's a belief in something apart from, evidence. Um, just on a personal note, I've looked into this really seriously most of my life. When I was about 16, I tried to commit suicide and I failed. And that's when I thought, what, fuck, if I had done it, that would be all over. And I got motivated to find out, is there really anything?
yeah,
Or what happens? And I studied all the stuff all these years. Korean photography was a big thing back in the 70s.
yeah,
But that's been explained away. That's not any spirit photography. It's just dirty residue left on a slide. It's all of these things that they point to that are supposed to be evidence for the afterlife are really not. There's absolutely zero evidence of anything for afterlife, and logically there is really no reason for an afterlife. There's no reason that we should be special and exist apart from our physical existence. Quantum mechanics, quantum science kind of demonstrates categorically, when you understand what it means about, what it implies about physics, that there's nothing special about us and our brains. When we die, like any other organism, our existence is over. Our bodies, you can say the energy changes. Our body decomposes and it goes back into nature in different forms. But there's nothing about our brains that's any special. Once they stop working, they stop working. And the mind that they generate stops working. And there's all kinds of evidence to prove that. When we get a brain injury, most people, when they get hurt in certain parts of the brain, have the same kind of symptoms. You get hurt on one part of your brain, you lose your ability to speak. You lose another part of your brain, lose your ability to use your hands or feet or whatever. One part of your brain, if you get damaged that, it turns you right off instantly.
yeah.
And it's the same with everybody. And it shows that our brains is what generates our mind. And when the brain is healthy, it generates a healthy mind. When it's damaged or not healthy, then it generates an unhealthy or distorted mind. It's like when we're on drugs. We're not seeing any special reality. It's just that our perceptions and processing is distorted so that we don't process what we see correctly. So we see all kinds of weird stuff. If we see all kinds of weird stuff, because that's how our perceptions are distorted.
So,
And again, with
so
the
to,
similar drugs, the similar effect.
so to the person who has a near-death experience, they have a unhealthy, dysfunctional brain that is making them have an illusion. Is that?
Well, their brain is shutting down, and a lot of times, you notice that a lot of these experiences, when they come back, they have some commonalities, like they see light, and they feel like they're going through a tunnel or whatever like that.
Uh-huh.
But then a Hindu will think they see Krishna, or, a Christian will think they see Jesus. Your brain is in the process of shutting down. On the one hand, it's under great stress. On the other hand, it's trying to alleviate, your feelings. Have you ever had a near-death experience before?
No, I haven't.
I had one once, and I didn't so much see light as I saw blackness coming in, and when I realized I was dying and I couldn't breathe or anything, I felt sad. I didn't feel bad. I wasn't even panicking that I couldn't breathe. I was just accepting it, and I was like, damn. And that was the serotonin in your brain kicking in.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, people believe what they want to believe. They've done tests, for example, in hospitals where they've put things out of sight. Like people say they have out of body experiences when they die. Never has anybody correctly reported any of the stuff that they've tried to test. You know, sometimes there'll be anecdotes about somebody hearing something in the hospital, you know, when they're under anesthesia or something like that, or in a coma. But we know that people can process things when they're unconscious. You know, when we're in a coma, my wife was in a coma for weeks, and she remembered hearing us there, even though we didn't know that she was awake. You know, because she couldn't open her eyes, she couldn't speak, she couldn't move. She was aware that we were there, she could hear us.
Right, and it is said that hearing is the last sense.
You know, if you look at these claims from these people that that say that they've had out of near-death experiences or whatever, and then look at the scientific evaluations of these things, you know, either they're just making it up, or they're trying to describe something that they experience that they don't know how to really describe any better, except in terms of stuff that they understand and can talk about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when I felt sad when I was dying, I felt sad. I didn't feel afraid. I just felt sad, and I was accepting of it. And people can say that, well, they felt a great peace, you know, and then they might interpret that the next step later and say, like Jesus was with me.
Well, but they're projecting their religious beliefs onto the experience.
Yes, that's exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, and for me, after I was resuscitated and I thought about it and I remembered it, you know, again, it was like I realized how close I had come. And, you know, it's the thing is that, you know, this religious belief also, and this belief in the afterlife, it also, I kind of think, makes us not cherish and not respect our current life and each other enough. You know, these religious beliefs divide people. If we understood that we're all in the same boat together, that might, you know, help to bring us all together a bit better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, knowing that we have just one chance might make you respect your life and the other person's life a bit more. You know, it's, you know, that's how I look at it anyway. You know, you're catching me a little bit off guard, so I'm not really, you know, in the frame of mind I need to talk about this stuff very well, but that's pretty much
That's what an interview
thinking
does. That's what an interview does. It catches you off guard with questions. Yeah, you know, I think that your overall message of, and it's kind of it's a hidden message, really. It's a hidden message because the obvious message, I'm looking at it as an observer, right? So if I hadn't gotten the pleasure of having you walk me through and share and tell me about your installation, I might come in and of course, hearing the God 9000 and the different things said, it would be a very fascinating experience of a brain shutting down, of a person dying, and then the memory lane, you know, it ties in. But I think the memory lane is where the underlining message is, really.
well, memory lane, and also even the Oracle and the Einstein thing too. The points to get across to people about life.
Yeah.
You know, even if some of the points are humorous, you know, there's still some kind of truth to them. And the thing that Einstein said is something I believe absolutely. I thought the same thing. You know, I heard that quote. I was like, I wish I could speak that well. That's what I mean.
Okay, so do this. Summarize in just a sentence, and this is, I know, difficult. A person who walks in here without you around, and they're all by themselves, and they're really taking their time, and they're really going through this. What is the one And I know you've already said it, but summarize it for me. What is the one thing you really want them to get from your installation?
Just that, life is a one-time shot. Make the most of it while you have it. I love you. I love you. And don't forget to talk to God 9000 on every level.
That's actually classic. I love that.